Yep, today is September 20th, 2023. We're joined by Velo Data and our co-host Marty. Marty, how you doing?
Good, good. And yourself?
I'm doing well. Doing well. For those just listening in, we do record these. They'll be posted after the fact on YouTube. You can find them on our YouTube channel, which is at Premia Finance. But yeah, I'm doing well. It's a beautiful day out here in the Midwest. Like Brazil.
Ah,
We don't have the beach.
yep, Hell de Janeiro. There's no winter ever. Today we have Velo Data on, aka BitHedge, the man himself. What's going on?
Hello, thank you for having me. I've been a listener to a couple of these, and I know Marty's one of the more up and coming podcast hosts in the space, so I'm excited to be here.
I'm just an unofficial podcast host to anybody who wants me as a co-host. Doesn't matter. I'll just jump on.
Retired hat store owner.
Yeah, that was the hardest job of my life. Actually, running that goddamn hat business is not easy work, guys.
BitEdge, before we get into talking about the markets and vol and stuff, you want to give a little intro on Velo Data and kind of what you guys are doing over there? Because I know me and Marty use you quite a bit. You were kind enough to give me a beta access a while ago to start playing around with it. But sure, our listeners would love to hear what you guys are doing.
Sure, yeah. So the easiest way, right? Check out my profile. Anyone can make an account on the website these days and check it out. That's the easiest way. But basically, what we offer is centralized exchange data analytics. We try to be the fastest and easiest place to see what's going on in the market, and I think we do a pretty good job with that. We have futures, options, spot, CME data. Everything's updating live on the website. We try to make it really user friendly, and yeah, like I said, I think the easiest way is to click on my profile, scroll through it. You'll see new features we add every couple of days, and give it a try.
Nice, nice. I guess we can just make this more a markets and Velo spaces. I'm happy to have you on. Do you want to give a little background to yourself, how you got here, and why Velo?
Yeah, sure. So I got started in crypto in late 2020. I worked at Glassnode for a little bit as a software developer, and then I worked at a quant trading fund, Thanefield Capital, for a little bit, and then I started Velo at the beginning of this year, kind of to address, what had been a recurring theme for me and a lot of people I talked to, which is that there's a good amount of on-chain analytics solutions that are pretty solid, right? But when it comes to centralized exchange trading, which has always been my focus, and I know it's the focus of a lot of people, I really found that there wasn't any solutions that basically had as good of a user experience as I was looking for. I had to, make custom solutions for a large amount of stuff, and some complaints I had about existing services, I talked to other people, and it seems like they kind of shared them. So, I started out just making some charts, closed beta, sharing it with friends, and the reception's been very good. And now, we're trying to become a pretty all-encompassing home for centralized exchange data.
Nice, nice. And how many people are on your team right now?
There's three of us, so me, and two other developers.
Yeah, the current issue with other platforms is it's not available to retail pro-tail. I mean, I guess you could buy it, but just in terms of the pricing, it prices a lot of people out, right? A lot of people don't have whatever it is, 30 grand a year to shill out on some data, right? They need a more cheaper, easier access. Is that kind of what you were saying? Is that kind of why you developed Velo?
That's largely correct. And the focus of some other options, right, is I think there's a lot of overlap when you start to go into like purely catering towards institutional and really uh, advanced stuff, right? So there's more overlap with people who can make their own solutions, and I think it's like the middle 80% of traders, right? They're kind of stuck with just using TradingView.
Yeah, and if you don't know the custom tickers on TradingView, then you're screwed, right? And it's very limited in terms of what you can do and what you can see.
Yeah, I mean the big stuff is, on Velo you add kind of those second order things like open interest, funding rates, liquidations, right? You can get some of this stuff on other websites, but like I said, we think we've really got to focus on being the fastest and the easiest place to see all this. And so far our feedback has largely bore that out.
And your guys' colorway. Every time I put the light mode on, it like hurts my eyes a little bit, but the dark mode.
Light mode is what I use. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we should default to dark mode. Maybe I'll put up a poll someday.
I got the one that's just like your system, right? Match your system. So
Yeah, I think it does that by default.
uh,
But we'll have even more colorways coming soon. We'll have like a custom color palette, kind of like you could do on Crypto Watch.
oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's sad that CryptoWatch is going fully in-house to Kraken, right? Kraken only. So, I mean, there's you guys, there's Amber Data, Gvolt Greg, and CryptoWatch, and of course TradingView, right? But there's nothing in this price point that prices in retail. I'm not sure. I know you guys are free open beta right now, but do you have a rough estimate for the listeners on what we're going to be paying? Some alpha?
Yeah, when we go paid, maybe around the turn of the year. I think we could go paid earlier than that, but we're thinking we want to continue to just amass more users, right? So around the turn of the year, and I think we can start off at like $25 a month, something like that.
Oh yeah, that's totally reasonable. That's totally better than 30 grand a year. In terms of your
Yeah, I
guys's,
mean, there's
go
different
ahead.
there's different tiers, right? We have an API that'll be ready soon. That'll be a little more expensive, but for the large part, it's a consumer thing. So staying under $30 a month at the beginning, I think makes a lot of sense as we kind of gain more clout, and particularly, if the market turns up a lot next year, we'll probably raise that a little bit.
Yeah, and you guys are the talk of the town in terms of how many active users and new users and growth. Maybe you want to go a little bit into that, share some alpha there.
Sure, yeah. So, we started the closed beta um, in May, right? So that's about 4 months ago. We started out and there was like 100 daily active users the first week. Um, that got to like 1,000 a month later, and now we're at like 3,500 daily active users, which is pretty solid. Monthly active users is about double that, a little more than double that. And so, we're basically just trying to spread through Twitter, talk to users every single day. If you have a request, or a question, you can DM me and I'll answer you immediately. And so we've really found kind of, I think this will continue to be the case for a while. Just spreading through Twitter is the way to go.
Yeah, and you're a little more personable. You're easy to contact, or you reply personally to DMs, or some of the other guys. Oh, here's a contact email. You never get a reply back. They don't care about your, unless you're a pimp, right? Then they don't care about your recommendations or anything like that. It's interesting to see how you guys are approaching this whole thing.
Sure, yeah, yeah, and we're definitely like a CT native approach makes the most sense right now.
Okay, let's switch it up a little bit. We're coming out of FOMC. Nothing happened as kind of expected. Um, when you were at Thinkfield, what kind of trading were you doing? And were you trading these main events? It feels like this macro main event nonsense really only became a trading day here on crypto Twitter during like COVID, really. It's like new,
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like, oh, retail cares about FOMC now.
yeah, I think that started right at the beginning of like 2022 when it started to. There was all like the historic stats you would see, like, oh, this is the worst year ever for interest rates, stuff like that. Yeah, I did do some event trading at Thinkfield. Largely, what we did was like medium frequency quant trading, so systematic stuff like cross sectional, trend trading, mean reversion, kind of a mix between discretionary and systematic. But yeah, as far as FOMC and watching that goes, I think we're past the peak of that. That seemed to really be like all the rage in the middle of last year. And I think nowadays we get, some people are branching into like on chain, but largely what's been most exciting for people, I think, is altcoins. And so they're a little bit different than Bitcoin and ETH in that it matters a lot less what's happening in the macro. And some people are probably happy about that, and some people are less happy about that.
Oh, the meme coins. Oh my God. I think we talked about it a few times here, but there was Pepe, there was some other ones that just did some absolute monstrous numbers, and that's just like a pure like flow based thing, right? You were either in early or you weren't. You're either part of the meme or you're not. When it comes to more like the institutional trading side at Ainfield, you guys were trading directionally or you guys were D0 or tell me a little bit more about that.
Typically directionally, but a little bit of everything. I mean, Essett's like a prop firm, and I don't work there anymore. I can't really talk too much about like specific strategies, but we did a little bit of everything. We just mostly trade a lot on FTX, Deribit, Finance, and most of it was systematic stuff that could be directional or D0.
Yeah, FTX. I miss FTX sometimes. But when you go to file your claim, my wife has a claim. That whole UI gives me PTSD, right?
I liked the
Me too.
website. I mean, yeah, I liked the website.
But now looking back, it's painful to watch. Now,
Me and Dante were talking about it a little bit this morning, and like it seems like with the new cycle of meme coins, none of them are sticky, like none of the narratives. So as soon as the next one comes out, all the capital flows from one into the next one, and none of them have any time to really capture like larger attention gravity to gain any liquidity like the ones of the last like half cycle, you could say, back where Pepe kind of came in. They're getting to they're too small to really even like want to waste your time with. They're getting to like a million, 6 million market cap before bots just start destroying it.
Yeah, and when you talk about meme coins, there's a big spectrum, right? There's like single digit $1 million market cap on chain coins, and then you have like Hi-Fi and BLZ and like TRB. The perps have been running wild lately, but the big difference between kind of now and what made those stick around more previously is largely that I think most people trade them at this point. Um, whether or not they're actually good traders, they've kind of seen a pump and dump before. So it's like in 2021, you can get people coming in to buy, maybe it was Doge at that point or even Solana, and they see this coin going up and they think it can stay at this price, right? Whereas nowadays, most of all trading is kind of momentum driven, in that as soon as the momentum stops, you don't have a lot of bag holders left over, like maybe you would have gotten in 2021.
it's funny to see people still complain when it rugs, right? Like, don't you know that it's going to rug at some point? You had the hamster thing, you had what was the banana? Like, of course they're going to rug at some point, right? It's just interesting in human psychology that they blame the dev or whatever for pulling the rug when that's the whole point. That's why they were there, right? Follow the meme.
Yeah, I mean, in general, right, like 90% of people trading alts lose, probably more than that. So it's just the nature of it. It's just kind of nowadays with the group of people trading it, uh, if you're still trading crypto today, you have a higher chance of being on CT than you did if you were, one of many more crypto traders a couple of years ago. So we hear about it more, and that leads to the infighting and stuff.
Yeah, I remember Cozy saying like, oh, I forgot what it was, but he would just put like a couple $100 in like 100 coins, and one of them was gonna, 1,000x or whatever it was. Uh,
The Delta days.
oh, that was fun. That was fun. Um, BitHedge, when it comes to the crypto vol market, have you been following? How have you been trading it lately, or are you not trading at all anymore? You're just a dev at this point.
I still trade, but a lot less than I used to. I trade like once a month, honestly, because it makes the most sense for me to just dev, right? In terms of the vol market, I haven't traded on Deribit in a little bit. I know obviously the big trade there was, and you were a big proponent of this, was just to sell vol, at least on the front end, for the longest time. And I think we're still, I mean, Devol bottomed at like 30 and it's like 43 now. So we're a little off the low. I mean, we started the year at like 43 and we're at 43 still. So there hasn't been a lot of vol trades. I think, in general, I'm going to prefer to only trade options when they have a pretty specific view, and or the way I think about it is I don't go through and select like a specific option that I have in mind beforehand because of the virtue of transaction costs and the spread on Deribit. Typically the way that I'll trade an option is if I think, vol is low and skew is good and Bitcoin's going to go up, in the next week. I'll just go through the options chain for things expiring, between like 5 and 10 days from now, and I'll just pick off whatever options are like min tick wide. And I think just getting the tiniest spread there makes the most sense for me in terms of picking trades. But I haven't traded on Deribit in a couple months actually.
Oh, you're not missing much, right? Nothing's going on, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I would hate to have to have like a mandate to make money directionally trading options right now. I think it's definitely pretty tough.
Yeah, especially for the directional guys, right? Like you have the large ETH player that just keeps rolling every couple months, every quarter, and this guy just like it's so funny because he trades like on book, right? He'll like get off 50,000 contracts on Deribit's book without using Paradigm or whatever. I had some speculation on who it was or why they do it that way. I'm not sure.
It's always interesting to me how like tightly that guy can get filled. I mean, it's a known flow, so that's what makes sense. But a lot of the time, seeing one person can be like 20% of the volume, or 20% of like the real taker volume on Deribit for a day, and he manages to get filled only moving vol like 2 points.
Yeah, yeah. But I always watch him execute, and it's like terrible execution, right? Like whoever this is absolutely terrible at executing. I mean, he does get it off, but like let's say the crypto specific news, like XRP news or the lawsuit came out, like this guy is buying to close as fast as he possibly can, right? And he'll even lose money trying to cover as vols are spiking. And you're just like, Jesus, don't you want to do like a RFQ or something else? Maybe he can't, like in terms of regulation or in terms
Mm-hmm.
of I don't know, customer funds or his funds. I'm not sure how he's legally set up or she, right, or who they even are. But just his execution is absolutely terrible. We saw him do 50,000 buy to close October 2K calls, and then he ended up rolling those, it seemed, into like December mainly. But that guy's just, he never loses. For like a year and a half, he's only lost like a handful of times, right? And this whole year, nothing's changed. I was talking to my partner about this, I guess, in, I don't know, January or February. And he was saying, like, yeah, vols could stay muted and dead for a year. And I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way that vols are muted for a year, right? Like, I know people go to the Hamptons and shit in the summer, but like, come on, we have to have some crypto specific news. And here we are sitting devol, Bitcoin devol 43. I'm not sure what ETH is right now. I guess I can look. 37. Oh, wow. And especially after this, we'd probably get a crush into the weekend, right? In terms of
Oh yeah.
vols, right? Oh, nothing changed. Of course, nothing changed. Let's look at that. Price didn't even move. Devol didn't move. I don't know. I guess you can look at forwards. Forwards. Oh, let me go on Velo to look at forwards. Forwards are actually kind of expensive going into June. You're looking at like 60 handle, and at the money right now is 54. So yeah, that's interesting for sure.
Yeah, you can look at we have an implied volatility slope chart in the bottom right of the options page. It's the 1 month minus the 6 month, right? And that's kind of gone low and stayed low for a while.
Yeah, just I've been writing about this for Premia for like the whole year, right? Like there's nothing, we've had every catalyst, and every time we think that a catalyst comes, we just get screwed, right? In the ball space, right? Nothing changes, nothing happens. We were expecting that XRP was going to dig us out. We were expecting that Grayscale was going to dig us out. ETF this, ETF that. It's like, well, what else do we have now? Now all we have is time or a black swan, and I don't think we need a black swan right now, right? People already kind of look at this face like a joke. Imagine if Nance goes down or something like this.
I think a new ETF had just gotten filed too, like maybe just the other day, and no one even like you don't even hear anyone talking about it. No one
It
cares
was a
anymore.
Brazilian. firm. They're actually right near my house. Hashdex. They have some other ETPs listed in the Brazil and the U.S. market, and that third world love. Nobody even talked about it, right? There was an ETH ETF, I guess, right? And I don't know. It's
Yep.
whoever the first one is going to get the most market share. So that's why all these big guys, BlackRock and whoever else, are all here. They're here to make money, and the first one to get approved in the long run will have the majority of the market share. The whole grayscale thing blows my mind that people still trade that, or want to trade that, or want to touch anything that Barry Sober does with the 6 foot pole. Um, I was on a pod in January, and the guy was telling me about the GVol, about the trade, about the GBTC trade, and I was just like, this is not something that I want to touch. You're just going to be holding this bag, and Barry Sobert's going to laugh his way to the bank. And look now, there's still the discount. They still don't have an ETF, and they just shut down Genesis, all of it. Do you know anything about that, BitHedge, about the Genesis shutting down everything, right?
Yes, it's my understanding that Genesis is entirely out in terms of everything. So yeah, that's huge, right? They were like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, options player on Deribit,
Yeah.
right? Um, I'm sure that they've been kind of slowing things down a bit recently, anyways. But yes, from what I've heard, they're completely done, which is a huge hole in the space.
Yeah, there's only a handful of large players left, right? You have, oh, I don't have to name them, but yeah, the biggest one is going to be Cumberland now, right? That's about going to be the biggest one in the space now that Genesis is gone. You have Galaxy, you have them, you have the STS guys, a little bit smaller, but yeah, the whole fall space I thought was going to come back and be booming, but it just seems like, oh, we just never catch a break. Now Genesis is gone. Thank God we didn't have any contracts open with them, right? But yeah, imagine your counterparty risk was Genesis, and now they're like, oh yeah, we're shutting down, we're unwinding anything. That has to be a fucking nightmare for sure.
Sure. Well, think about what the landscape looks like just for any prop or hedge fund trading crypto right now, right? If you're trading perps or spot, I think your opportunity set has taken a big hit and it's much smaller. And then options is 2% or 5% of perps volume, so it's even smaller.
Yeah, and the option space in crypto is young and has a lot of room to grow, but it seems that we have a lot of TradFi guys coming into this space, and that the smartest people in the room are the ones trading vol right now, right? They're not trying to do spot or arb or anything like that. They're all here in the crypto vol space, and then I don't know, you just get this whammy that Genesis is gone, and you're like, well, I thought we were all the smartest ones in the room, and maybe we're not.
I mean, I think it depends. Definitely, on average, I think if you take someone who trades perps and someone who trades options, just by the fact that options are more complicated, it's generally going to be, quote unquote, smarter money. But there's nothing really magical about trading options that stops you from, your PL drawing up.
Well, yeah, and if you're paying theta every day, right, and you have high conviction on one trade, and I'm going to go all in, one day at a time, you could just get eaten up, especially this year when the underlying hasn't moved. I mean, violently. It's moved up, but it hasn't moved violently. People keep forgetting that we're still up like whatever 50% on the year, 60% on the year, and people are losing money. It still blows my mind how that's even possible.
Yeah, I think. Let me look at the chart. I think it's 50%. Yeah.
My chart observers.
Let me check my meme lines, and according to my TA, we should be at $1 million by tomorrow. Yeah, we're up seven.
Yeah. Bitcoin's up like 65%.
Yeah, people are like liquidated and like portfolio all-time lows, and you're like, geez, guys, the bear market hasn't been that bad. We just done the same shit, up, down, up, down, up, down, slowly climbing higher. But it's interesting to see. I'm looking at Velo right now. All of these, what are these contracts? These people, 85K calls, 65K, 45K. March and June 24. What are these people doing? Are we back?
We are so
We might
back.
be back.
Dude, we might be back.
This could be
Whoa.
it.
85K calls, 1,000 contracts. I think the Paradigm guys brought that one up, but I didn't see this one. 1,800 contracts, 45K
Yeah, I
calls.
mean, it looks big on paper, right? But how many dollars did he actually spend on that? Probably not a huge amount.
Yeah, it's like the bear. Not the. Oh,
I don't know. Let me check the price.
what's the guy's name? The big short guy. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why, but the
Michael
yeah,
Burry.
Burry. Oh yeah, Burry put on a $10 billion short, the whole fund, or 1 billion, and he put out like 20 million notional. Like people just love to have a headline, I
That
guess,
happens a lot. Yeah, I mean, but with that said, this is so out there, right? But if it does move into the money, then yeah, it becomes a massive trade.
or even gets close. Right? Doesn't even have to get
Yeah,
into the money. Ball just has to come up, has to approach the strike, and yeah, I mean it's a large cash, and we're not even seeing these guys' balance sheet, right? So could just be a piss in the wind for them. I was talking to the QCP guys last week, and they were like mega bullish. Mega bullish being like 30K. Um, when they run a book that size, it's a little different because price doesn't have to go $1 million up for you to make a lot of money. And then it was interesting to see on their newsletter that they do that they were bearish, but when talking to them, kind of semi.
what was how many days apart was this?
I want to say it was the same day. I want to say it might have even been the same day. I don't know. It was maybe 48 hours or something like this. Um, and yeah, I mean, they were just basically saying that price approaches 30K and we ping pong like this 30 to 40K, and that's going to be better than ping ponging 20 and 30K. And I tend to agree. If all goes well with all these ETFs and all of these approvals and all the hopium, I'm calling it hopium at this point because, like Cozy said, right, we had a new ETF application and nobody even glanced a second look at it, right? And if we get this hopium, then price goes up. That's okay. Everybody's happy. CT stops being a meme pool and everybody hating each other. And hopefully, everybody can get along. But for now, vols are muted. There's nothing else we can do. We can just build, right? Cozy, do you want to tell a little bit about V3? A little bit. What happened there? What's going on? You guys launched, and I just got on the
Yeah,
computer.
yeah.
Talk to me.
Things have been going well. We launched about a week ago while we were at permissionless. Some of the changes for underwriters and traders. We now offer permissionless pooling, so you can create a market for any pair of assets with an oracle. Range order, limit order book, or range orders and limit order book that's being indexed on Arbitrum Nova. So, it's transparent. Everyone can see we're not, doing anything with the orders that get submitted. We've got more intelligent vaults. So if you think of V2 as our V2 as underwriter vaults, we've made them a bit more intelligent by them being able to buy and sell within a range for you if you deposit into those. So we have short volatility vaults for wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped ETH, and Arbitrum for calls and puts, spreads, isolated margin to come.
Yeah, I think it's your mic, Cozy. But yeah, the interesting thing here is that you guys now have the order book, and it's all on chain, where other participants in the market are doing this off chain order book or an on chain settlement type thing. So you fire off an RFQ, and it's like goes to the market maker off chain and then settles on chain. Where you guys are 100% on chain. Um, I know it's been interesting to talk to. I've been trying to find different market makers that do 100% on-chain systematic
Was my mic
market
being weird?
making. What was that?
Was my mic being weird?
A little bit, yeah. Sound like you were in a tunnel or some shit.
No. Um, Yeah, from like my talks even with market makers, it doesn't seem like anyone's doing like on-chain market making in with options. People are market making on dexes, and they're market making tokens that maybe are dex native. But as far as like programmatically market making on option protocols, I haven't really seen too many.
So yeah, if anybody's listening now or listening later, reach out to me or Cozy if you're doing on-chain market making. 100% on-chain, not this click trade bullshit. Um, it's going to be interesting because there is money to be picked up of misprice options, right? When you have people learning the order book and maybe they're not sure, right? You guys ran the trading competition and people, Jesus, the amount of mispriced options. Thank God it was on testnet for that, or else, yeah, people would have lost a lot of money. But right now, I'm already starting to see some mispriced options. But if you're one of these smaller guys that are doing on-chain market making, check it out. It's Premia.blue, and you can pick up some free monies off the ground.
Yeah, so one of the things we saw with like V2 is, the risk profile for that type of product. It wasn't something that really spoke to like ProTail or market makers because you had to underwrite the full book of risk. Anything from that day to 90 days out, they're American style options. And now in V3, they're European style options, but they're a two-way market. You can always sell on the order book. Um, but one of the things is we're now providing kind of these different tools or these different layers that are able to appease different risk profiles and different types of users. So if you are the type of user that wants more granularity and more control over where on the volatility surface you're underwriting, you have the ability now to say, I only want to underwrite within this premium range, and I only want to underwrite within this price range, which wasn't possible before.
Yeah, it's a new development, and time for market makers to get on there and start picking up some free monies. I've been super slammed this past week, and I'll get on there this weekend and pick up some free monies if it's still there. Hopefully, somebody can beat me to it. BitHedge, I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
please don't make me pay for Velo. No, no. How much is the API going to be versus the 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 entry? Let's call this, because that's what we need, right? We need like a API plugin, or else we're just like you. We have to go build out all this stuff by ourselves, which is
Yeah.
possible, but it's like a hassle, right?
Yeah. So I can't negotiate or put any concrete numbers out for the API right now because we haven't fully decided yet. Um, but I think it'll certainly be a few $100 a month, but starting at least a couple $100 a month is, I think, the cheapest you'll get anything API. So it'll be competitive, just as our first tier will be. And yeah, I'll let you know since we have a hard number, but I can't give one today.
That's fair. I'm just seeing if I can wheel and deal. Maybe I'll get it for free. You never know. When
Well, you
it comes to
got me sweating now, so we'll negotiate.
all right, I'm in. I need some more tools. I'll write you a one pager in terms of what kind of tools that either we've built out or that are annoying to build out or that we don't want to build out. And maybe you guys can go ahead and implement those things. It's some simple shit, but yeah, it's just like annoying to when you're a two-man team to build out everything yourself when you're still trying to manage a book or whatever, and you don't have time just to build out tools. It's easier to pay, you know, whatever it is, a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, particularly with the option stuff, we have a lot more coming there. I think it kind of speaks to how well we've been able to assemble the website and curate what we want to show right now. That I think we only have 7 options charts on the site, but for most people I talk to, that gets them like 90% of the way there. So we will have more. I'm aware it's pretty low count right now.
Yeah, it's more than enough for like a retail pro tail, right? Everything's there for them to see. Most of those guys aren't even going to be using API, right? It's either these more institutional guys or maybe on the upper end ProTail that will be using the API. But mainly, most people just like the front facing interface, like a trading view or whatever, right? I have a question for you because the D-ball, the one
Yep.
that you guys show, is on TradingView, or at least it says it's on Chart by TradingView, but it's not on TradingView. And when I brought that up to Deribit, they were like, uh, yeah, I don't know, right? They're like, that's weird. I don't know what happened. We'll look into it. Well, it's been like 2 months. So how are you guys getting that? Are you guys pulling it from like the WebSocket or?
So we have trading. We use the TradingView library, right? So that's on the options page and the chart page. It might say TradingView in the bottom left. That's just the library. So we're plugging in all of our own data, right? We're not getting data from TradingView. We just get the front end from them. And so as far as DVOL, yeah, we're getting that from a Deribit WebSocket. We save it to our database in 1 minute resolution, and then that's being shown on the site. And we have a live WebSocket, so anytime value changes, that's reflected instantly too. But yeah, I don't. If it's not on TradingView, that wouldn't surprise me. We do just use their front end.
Yeah, it used to be on TradingView, and now it's not there. So I get a lot of messages or requests or complaints. I'm
Maybe
not
maybe
sure.
maybe Cole put a hit out. Cole just wanted be
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
everyone.
Cole just said, "Not today, guys. We bought TradingView and we got rid of Devol." Cole is Volmex, eViv, and BViv, which is a little different calculation than the Deribit one. But Deribit is the main player in the space in terms of the D-ball, right? When you're just looking at IVs, you're just quoting D-ball, right?
That's correct. I mean, I liked a lot that they added DVOL because it's like now I can just give you one number, right? The BViv and eViv indexes probably as far as like pure accuracy or manipulation proof. Not that I really think a lot of it happens, but they probably do a little better on that side. And so we probably will carry that data eventually. Even we've spoken with them about it, but in terms of like, I mean, if somebody asks me what are Bitcoin vols and they want one number, I think the
D-ball
default
number.
number is the one to give them.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to their futures, I thought that the D-ball futures were going to have a lot of potential. We were really looking forward to them, right? Because
I
it's
was
just a
excited too. Yeah, I would have
and
loved.
just absolutely dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah, so like what I would have liked to be able to do is show the mark price for default futures.
Yeah,
But what we just have to do is show the deval index because those futures didn't take off. I think if they made it a perpetual instead of expiring on dates, they would have more luck. But even then, um, I don't think it would pick up a lot. I don't know. I mean, for it's a a very it's the $1 million question is why hasn't vol trading picked up a little bit more, right? So I think there's space for a volatility perp. Hopefully, as soon as one arrives, we'll want to carry data for it as soon as it gets, proper volume. But yeah, that product, I remember watching it like the first day it traded, and somebody bought like 50K, and they slipped it up they slipped it up, and this guy lost like 3K just mark to market, and then he was complaining in the Deribit support chat about it. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's
Can't
that's my
fix stupid,
experience with
right?
it.
Can't fix stupid. Yeah. No, it should just be a perp, and then that would allow you to bet on vol directionally without, of course, a time expiry, and then there could be some, basis trades there that others could pick up. Um,
Exactly. I mean, I would hold if you look at like the equity curve for short VIX, right, and TradFi.
yeah,
Of course, it blew up in 2018, right? But over time, you can make a lot of money doing that, and it would be nice to be able to do that in crypto. But yeah, right now, if you have to sell a straddle to do it every week, and the rolling gets to be a bit much.
yeah, and then you have this other side, right, where people go and they make a vault on like this short straddle or different kind of basic structured products, and they totally dropped the ball on this too, right? Like I'm not sure how, but Ribbon is down. Every vault is like down like 70%. You're like, Jesus Christ, guys! Like, you don't want to change the strategy, or or make a different strategy, or with time and as balls moved, you didn't want to reevaluate the position. Like, oh man, all these people lost the plot for sure on most of these fixed vaults, and they just raked fees and never helped the end user.
Yeah, I like Ribbon and the team. I think it never they got a good amount of deposits. I think in like late 2021, right? But it's just
Hmm.
I haven't seen we haven't seen any structured products take off really. So it's just that market segment. I think obviously there's a lot of hurdles with it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And nobody's built like a full on-chain structured products business, right? And TradFi structured products kind of are
Well,
more
there's a few. I
common.
mean, there's a few. I think Ribbon was the biggest one. They had a pretty high TVL at one point.
Yeah,
But when you start to get like even more exotic, it just I think there's been a couple attempts for like on chain structured exotic products, and it's like, well, the more exotic you get, the less liquidity you have, and people have trouble buying vanilla call options expiring, at the money for a month from now, right now. So I don't think anyone's super interested in this stuff that's going to be, like 20% wide on the market.
yeah, it's a different clientele, right? It's more like an institutional clientele when it comes to structured products, and they want custom payoffs and things like this. Structured products are probably better off-chain than they are on-chain for now. For now, maybe the world changes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree. Um, Options in general, on-chain options included, um, should have some more volume coming. I think the large reason that they haven't so far is, and this is kind of one school of thought, is just that people can use perps. Whereas, in TradFi, if I want to open Robinhood, or interactive brokers, and I want to get a lot of leverage, I'm usually going to buy an option instead of having to post margin, and do a kind of 5x leverage perp, or not perp, my bad, but future.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? When you just have up, down, green, red, 100x leverage, of course, the monkey brain just goes to that. Um, it's going to be interesting to see more retail turn pro tail and start using options to hedge and stop using it as a directional bet, because that's kind of where the options market at is is right now, right? Like mostly on retail side is just directional bets. And you're like, well, guys, you could have put on a spread and you could have paid way less data and you probably would have cashed. And instead you bought an outright call and you got absolutely wrecked, within the week or month, whatever your expiry was. So
I
I
think
hope that people learn a little bit.
I think Jeff Liang from Greeks Live did a post a while ago that showed like open interest versus volume on Deribit and Bybit and maybe OKX. Um,
Yeah.
and it was pretty clear there that at least on Bybit, it's like a total gambling thing, which I think we all think makes some sense.
Totally. I think another thing is like capital efficiency. Like when you come to on-chain products, we aim for like trust minimization. So there are no, we need full collateralization at the base layer. So I know one thing one of our researchers is really bullish on is portfolio margin, because then it will open up, the ability to um, actually take out leverage and be able to have positions that are fully collateralized at the base layer, but actually capital efficient for people to take out these long or short positions and express their directional opinion through the options.
Yeah, 100%.
We've got about 13 minutes. We always try to open it up and get some questions, and we've only had some questions a handful of times. If anybody wants a question, you can DM me if you don't want to come up, or you can come up on stage and ask us. This is like heart wrenching that we've only had like 3 questions.
How long has this series been going?
Oh, like a while.
Yeah.
Like like the beginning of the year, basically. And sometimes we had, I think the most was like 500 listeners, 400 listeners, and then some guy came up, and I was just like, "Thank you for asking the question." Right? One guy did just DM me. I'm not going to say who
Nice.
it is, but he's listening. He said, "Can you ask where they get their 1M data?" I'm assuming it's the 1 minute data. Can you be a little more specific in the question?
Yeah, that's
That's a
kind
rough question.
of, it's a little bit general. I mean, we pull all of our data straight from exchanges, right? So we're listening to WebSockets, and as every trade comes in, as every open interest, funding rate update comes in, we just save that to our database in 1 minute resolution, and then that's what we're showing.
Yeah, that was an open-ended question, right?
I mean, I did answer it.
Or did
Yeah,
he mean
I mean,
1 month? Did he mean 1 month or 1 minute? I don't
yeah.
know.
If he
Or
met, I mean, I guess we'll open
still
up a
the
little
same
bit.
answer.
The way that we give like 1 month implied volatility or 1 month skew on the site is we get the two options closest to at the money, right? So if we're trading at 30K, then we look at the vol on like, or say we're trading at like 30 and a half. We'll look at the vol on the 30K option, on the 31K option. We do a weighted average of that. And then say there's an expiration 20 days from now and 40 days from now, we take the weighted average of both of those to get a 1 month value. So maybe he meant that.
So we just answered two questions on one open-ended question. And we have another question in the
Nice.
DM. Who is the pimpest of the pimps? If they could recommend a follow, who would it be?
If I could recommend a follow,
Yeah,
maybe
we could go around the table, I
we'll
guess.
go around the table. I guess maybe my personal account, which is also in here as a listener,
Okay.
bit_hedge. Otherwise, one of our power users, Neon Glow. It's Neon with three underscores and then Glow, has been very instrumental in Velo from behind the scenes. So I would also recommend him.
Don't fade neon glowing. Imagine trading against neon glowing.
He's our
For what was that?
he's our mascot.
Yeah, our mascot neon glowing. He has that nice profile picture of that jail that you can see. One guardman can see all the prisoners. I would say Tony Stewart, which is the Pelion at Pelion cap, Pelion cap, and Cozy.
Uh, let's see. Someone who doesn't get a lot of love, who's been around in like CT for a while, but is also like heavy in kind of like tradfi Twitter is Top Tick Crypto. He's probably one of the like better analysts that I know who gets slept on quite a bit. Like from macro stuff to like on-chain gem hunting, he usually has his ear to it all.
Did you just show your alt?
No, not my alt. No,
No,
not
we
one of my
follow each
20.
other. Yeah, there's another 20. Well, that's it for questions. I got those two questions. Bithead, do you have any questions for me? Any questions for Cozy before we wrap it up?
I guess Marty, are you long or short vol right now?
We stopped selling vol. Does that answer your question?
That
After,
answers.
yeah, I actually had a bet with one of the Premia guys that was in January. I've told the story a couple times on here, but if it's repetitive, I'm sorry. It was like January, February. I don't even know. I guess I was in Paris. It was like 10 p.m. I was on hosting one of the first spaces, and I don't know, D-Ball was like 80 or 70 or something, and the bet was that if D-Vol goes into the 20 handles, then I have to stop trading vol, and it hit like 29.99 or something, right? And I don't know when that was, but that was the last day of short vol. Um, that was like August. I guess that was like August. It was like 30 or like 29.99 or something. And I was like, okay, that's it. And then 2 days or like a week later, it popped up to 50. I don't know if that was the XRP news or whatever it was, and then it's just been down only since then. But for now, not short vol. I played some around the FOMC, and as soon as nothing happened, then I just unwound. Just in case the regime shift comes and the vol regime changes, you don't
Hmm.
want to be caught on the wrong side of that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think that's it from me.
Okay.
Definitely.
I
So
will.
thanks for having me.
If any of you, as an unpaid shill for Velo Data, personally, if any of you have not used Velo, go sign up, go try it out while it's free. For those of you that do know, like I pretty much live on chain, and Parsec was kind of like my go-to like on-chain tool. I felt if you weren't using that, you know you were trading against the dark. You had no idea what you were trading. I now almost feel that way with Velo. So as a hat tip, you guys have built a great product. Highly recommend you guys checking it out as listeners.
Thank you. Yes, likewise. Yeah, if, go to my profile, click the link in the bio. If you want, the fastest and the easiest place to get a second level of data on what's happening in crypto markets, you will not be disappointed.
That's a wrap. Appreciate everyone joining us this week. We'll be back next Wednesday.
2
Wednesdays from
Wednesdays.
now. Sorry. We'll be back 2 Wednesdays from now. As always, my
Cool.
wonderful.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Cozy.
See ya.
Thanks, MidHedge. Later, pimps.